You're now listening to the Shift Training Show, where we're focused on improving the quality of human interaction. I'm your host. My name is Flip.
My name is Vaughn. I'm your co-host.
All right. And today we're going to play a game. One of our most downloaded episodes is actually Where Should We Begin, where we go over Esther Perel's cards and we play her game and we answer some of those amazing questions. Super recommend. Today we're going to be playing a different game. Vaughn, what's the game?
That is right. We are going to be playing the Diary of a CEO. This one is a conversation card, so it's something that's going to be easy. And this is one of the most popular podcasts out there. Check them out.
All right, cool. Well, we hope that you'll enjoy this. I'm excited to see what's in here because I have no clue. I've not seen any of these cards. So we're just going off the top today.
Let's go.
And let's get into it.
All right, so we're going to pull a random card over here and we're going to try to answer them as honest as we can. All right. Choose one card.
I'm closing my eyes because I don't want to pre-look because I know me.
Not that one.
Oh, these are the instruction cards. Okay, so we're off to a bad start. We're going to set those aside, how it works, and pick a different one. See, that's why I can't look, you know? Okay. Ooh.
What do we got?
Okay. Are the names on the bottom from the guest who was on the show?
Those are the ones who answer that specific question.
So hopefully this doesn't mess up our focus real quick. Hopefully you guys will be able to briefly see that, but if not, it's all good. It says, what is an inadequacy you admit to that you could work on starting tomorrow? And this question I think is originally from the episode with James Smith or from James Smith. What is an inadequacy you can admit to that you could work on starting tomorrow? This is an interesting one. Honestly, I work on different stuff every day. I'm going to say a current inadequacy for myself that I think I could work on starting tomorrow. Yeah, that's kind of tough, low key. The reason why this is tough for me is because I'm deciding which one I want to start working on tomorrow. I would say there's plenty of things. Like, for example, patience is not a thing that I per se like to practice or appreciate. And that could be an area where I'm somewhat inadequate at times, basically not being patient with the process of understanding others. So that's something that I think I'm consistently working on, but I could continue to work on trying to improve tomorrow is being more patient with the process of coming to understand other people and not only just understand them, but also accept the differences, accept where the otherness between us might be.
Yeah, I think that's I could see that. That's a good perspective to how to practice, which is patience. I know how you are, in person. Okay. Should I answer the same question or should I pick a different card?
Let's pick let's hear your 2 cents.
Yeah. Okay. So what is an inadequacy you admit to that you could work on starting tomorrow? Great question. Well, I think starting 75 hard challenge again, I think that helps me a lot in terms of just being aligned to my goals and purpose. I would say just get better in communication. I think communication in terms of being more concise and articulate with, whatever it is that I'm trying to convey.
Awesome. All right, bet. I want to pick one now. I want to do the shuffling.
The shuffle.
Do the selection for him. It's not real shuffling. I'm just moving the cards around. All right, Vaughn, you got to pick one.
Ooh, random card. Let's see. Oh, this one's a short one.
Okay.
Question is, what is your deepest fear?
That's a crazy card. Who's the guest episode that was with?
The guest episode is Macy Williams.
Wow.
Great question. I think, one of my deepest fear is actually regret. I think not living up to your potential, being in my deathbed. I wish I could have just done more and not waste more time in my life. We only live once, and I think, if we waste that is the part where I'm going to feel not fulfilled.
I think that is a very common fear that a lot of people have, is not just like FOMO or missing out, but genuinely feeling like I didn't squeeze all the juice I could have squeezed out of it. I didn't get everything I could have got out of the ride. I think I shared that with you, actually.
Yeah, and I think another fear that I have is not being in control of my mind. That's the reason why I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do anything that will affect my brain, because I remember that one time, I don't know if I should tell this.
That one time at band camp.
That's it.
So of those two, which would you say is the deepest one?
Regret, for sure.
Okay, but I think for me, it's similar. I would say deepest fear for me is not reaching the vision that's been set before me. So there are visions. There's a thing that I'm working towards. I believe it is supremely important and the greatest call on my life. And to not do that, to not bless the people I'm supposed to bless along the way, to not squeeze all the juice out of life, to not have certain experiences, I do feel like I would regret it. And my deepest fear is that I might, for one reason or another, allow those things to escape me. I've had a season or two in my life where I neglected what the vision was, and those seasons were incredibly difficult seasons for me. And the moment I started to realign with what the vision was, things got better. Tough in their own way, but not just obscenely, unreasonably difficult, where you can obviously tell you're fighting against something you shouldn't be fighting against. So I think for me, yeah, the biggest fear is not achieving the vision, not that I wasted my life. Yeah, if I feel like I wasted my life, I think that's where I would feel like it's a big L.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice.
All right, let's go to the next question. This time, you're going to pick a card.
Bet. So these are interesting cards. I didn't expect this today, but that's what we're doing. This one's a short one too. What? Oh, this is from Cody Sanchez. It makes sense. Okay, what is your rich life?
Oh.
Yeah, what is your rich life?
What is my rich life?
Yeah, so this one, I think this one will be pretty easy for me. And I'm very familiar with Cody Sanchez, so I know her content, how she rolls. You want to go first? Or you want to
I'll go first. I guess my rich life means to me is I am blessing the people around me. You know, my family, friends, wherever it is, partner. And I think that is something that I would consider as rich life. And I think another thing about that is my ability to save a lot more money. You know, I'm somebody who is having a challenge when it comes to spending money, specifically on food. However, this is what I think that would work best for me. It's like an 80-20. 80% on my income is going to be save or invest, and 20% of that is, you know, something that I will spend on rent, food, whatever it is. And not the opposite. You have to save more than you earn. Okay.
All right, that's one's rich life. I would say, what is my rich life? Yeah, I would say a life where I am not constrained in my ability to show people gratitude to the extent which I feel it. Not restrained in my ability to bless people in whatever way might be necessary in order to change the course of things for them. Being in a position where we can positively impact human interaction in bigger areas, where we can possibly potentially influence culture. Being in a place where I have that capacity, skill, finances, whatever it may be, that's what that looks like to me. Being able to financially solve problems for my family or help them out, whatever is required, things like that. I would say that's my rich life. Most of my rich life is that. And then maybe 20% is just enjoying nice things because I really like shiny things. I like well-engineered, beautiful things such as cars and other tech things, which is typical guy stuff. But I really appreciate the craftsmanship of anything. It just happens to be a lot of things that guys like cars and tech and weapons and machinery, airplanes, whatever. So yeah, being able to do some of that stuff and experience some of that and just travel, traveling more with friends, family, having different shared experiences is always a beautiful thing. So that's my definition of what my rich life would be.
Yeah, that's actually also my third one, which is traveling, experiencing different cultures and just seeing the differences.
100.
All right, let's move on to the next question.
Okay, bet. Oh, I'm not supposed to look because I don't want to pre-read it because I know me. I'll scan that real quick. Ooh, I don't even want to do this one, actually.
What is that? What do you say?
I feel like this one's going to be exceptionally challenging for me, so I feel like I'm going to let you go first. Here you go, Vaughn.
All right, let's see. Let's read the question. What has been the most happiest moment of your life? Brought you the most joy and why? Wow. Oh my gosh.
I wouldn't think that one's a hard one, but that one's kind of challenging for me to think about.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just so much happiest moments that I experience
Right.
that it's hard to pick. But if I were to choose one, I'm gonna go on top of what I have in my head. It would be the time where I started joining Toastmasters.
Hey.
I am somebody who had a great fear of doing public speaking ever since. And just to keep the long story short, I joined Toastmaster, overcome my fear, and not for too long, I actually joined and compete in Toastmaster. And I wasn't expecting to actually, win or any of that. I just went there just to get over my fear. And I kid you not, when I went there, I actually won. Crazy. And that feeling, that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been just doing this for a couple months and winning a competition in Toastmaster and one of my biggest fear, man, it was an incredible feeling I want to have again. I think winning itself by itself is just an incredible feeling, especially when you work hard and you have so much fear around it. It feels amazing.
Would you say that it's more amazing because you had to overcome a fear to win?
Yeah, I think overcoming the part where in my head, I was just there to do whatever I can, not expecting to win. That happens to me a lot. Like every time I go somewhere and I was just there to, I just experience it or whatever. And I was very nonchalant, do my best. However, that's when I end up winning. When I actually try hard, that's when I ended up losing.
I feel like that's probably a challenge of expectation and the relationship between expectation and performance. Like to me, the way that I interpret what you said is that you were more focused on your development, overcoming the fear and what that might be, exploring the opportunity, and you remained open. So you're just focused on doing what you're supposed to be doing and nothing else.
Yeah.
So you're able to deliver. But sometimes when we get too focused on the performance aspect of things, it can mess up our ability to actually perform. We're not really in flow state. We're kind of really, really focused on the performance part. Whereas sometimes if we work hard towards something and then say, I've done my best, now I'm going to let it go. Then you show up, then whatever skill you've acquired in that time, it should still naturally come out and have an easier time coming out if we let go of concern about the outcome. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like to me.
Yeah, it does make sense. And I think that is actually what I did, where I didn't really expect. I wasn't there to perform. I'm there for myself, just to make myself proud that I've done it.
I think that's the way. For myself, now that I've had time to cook a little bit, what has been the most happiest moment of your life, brought you the most joy, and why? I can't think of one particular moment as the happiest. I've had some moments that have been pretty good. But I can tell you what brings me the most joy right now and why. So outside of the pursuit of progress and moving towards my goals and hitting them or absolutely crushing them, because that brings me a lot of joy because I feel a sense of progress. And for me, progress brings me closer to the vision. So everything brings me close to the vision, brings me a lot of joy. So outside of that, actually, I get a lot of joy from when I'm coaching or teaching people and seeing them win. When I see them have their breakthroughs and they're like, oh, thank you so much, whatever. This is how I was able to get there. That brings me a lot of joy to see that I was able to contribute to someone else's breakthrough. And another thing that just brings me a lot of joy are my nieces. When I see my nieces or when they want to video call me or whatever, and they're just so excited to talk to me and they're so happy, it makes my heart melt. It makes my eyes watery. They are so much fun to watch and they're so interesting. But the amount of, we are just so happy to see you love that they just show me when they see me, that makes my heart melt. It makes me so happy. It makes anything that was difficult that day or that week or whatever, It doesn't even matter anymore.
It dissolves.
Yeah, irrelevant. So that brings me a lot of joy too. My nieces, big shout out to Piper and Emma.
Yeah. Shout out to Piper and Emma.
All right, cool.
Shall we go to the next question?
Yeah, let's do another one. No, this time you're picking.
It's not a pick.
I don't want to pick. He's going to pick this time. I pick bad cards or difficult cards. Maybe all these cards are challenging. You have to buy the set and find out.
Ooh, let's see. What is your biggest regret? And if you could go back, what would you do differently?
Bro, I feel like that's a hard one. Can I just visually pick one I like? Wow, what is crazy?
Yeah, you got to answer that.
Who was it? Who's that from?
That is from Christian Horner.
Ooh, I saw Simon Sinek. I didn't read the question. I just saw Simon Sinek's name. I want to set that aside. Right at this point, I'm just picking based off people's names now. Chris Williamson, I want to set that aside too. Dr. Daniel Amen, bro, I'm going to set that aside. All right, I'm done looking.
Level 3. It's level 3.
That means it's going to be gangster. All right, we're not doing anymore.
That's it.
Oh, by the way, on the back of these cards, I just noticed this.
Yeah.
They have QR codes to see other people's answers. So Deepak Chopra answered this question that Daniel Amen presented. So on the back of them, you can scan the QR code to see, I assume, what is a clip.
It's a timestamp.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can hear other people's answers who've also been on the show. So very cool, very cool. Okay, so what's the question again? Run it back.
Yeah, so what is your biggest regret? And if you could go back, what would you do differently?
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
I'll be having a lot of regrets.
No regrets.
No, I'll be having a lot of regrets. I can tell you right now, the biggest regret that I have the most often, and I've been getting better at it, generally speaking, if I'm not going incident specific, it's regretting not trusting myself. And I'm going to give that a little more context because sometimes it's important to be able to trust yourself in general. It's important to be able to do that. But it's important to also know when your level of assessment is not adequate for the situation in front of you. So you need to know how to do that balance of, I can trust myself this much, but I know in this area, don't trust myself. There are areas where I probably should have trusted myself way more, where I was like, I shouldn't trust myself. I failed to look at, am I actually experienced in this area? Do I have knowledge and expertise in this area? Am I more aware of the context of the situation than maybe the other person involved in the situation? Am I letting their voice make me not trust myself when actually in the situation, I might be the more credible person? That's when I have the most regret. Because a lot of those times I end up right back to where it's like, God dang it, I knew it.
Yeah.
I already heard the voice. I already knew I should have done this. Should have been different. So that's usually where I feel like I got punched in the face the most. But a specific instance, anytime where, or if I flee from something that I knew I should have taken care of. Like if I try to avoid, delay, put off, just not do something I know it needs to happen, I lose credit with myself, and I usually regret those things. An easy example of this is the first time I went to test for my fourth degree black belt, I quit an exam. I, for whatever reason, believed that I could not finish it. Instead of just trying to push and see what's up. I was much younger, very different person. But I quit. And I remember getting outside of the building and getting to like the side, and before even leaving the parking lot, I was already crying. Like I was sad. Like I just gave up. I was like, holy crap. And I was disappointed in myself. And I regretted that for a little bit. And then, but it taught me a very valuable lesson. I went back in, had to go back in because I had to work there, obviously. I went back in after the weekend was over and got called into the master's office and like, Dragon, why did you quit the exam? What happened? And being asked a question, and they had already had all of my belt, my certificate, they had everything already ready, fully expecting me to pass. I was the only, everyone expected me to pass. I was the only person who didn't think I could do it because in the moment I felt I could not do it. I ended up testing again, later passing, but the first time I did, I bailed out. I lost credit with myself, kind of looked bad in front of my peers. Yeah. And it's one of those things where it taught me the lesson of, even if you believe that you cannot until you fail, you probably should just keep going. There's times where that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a good lesson. I think that you'll be surprised on how much capable you are.
Yeah.
if you just try. And I think just going back to what you said in the beginning about trusting yourself in an area where you feel competent about it, because there are some moments for me, I was like, why am I listening to this person? I know how to do this. And sometimes I doubt myself. No, I'm not going to listen to you. And then when I don't listen to that, I was like very relief on my own decision. However, with my answer on this, my biggest regret, if I could go back, I would do differently. I think when I was younger, I wish I could have been more courageous and take more risks. I feel like when I was young, I played safe. Therefore, I missed a lot of opportunities. And if I could just go back my younger days, I would whisper to him, take the risk, because it wouldn't even matter. 10 years later, looking at it in hindsight, it doesn't matter.
No one's going to care. No one's going to remember but you.
Yeah, exactly. No one remembers me back then. So.
All right, cool. All right, we're going to do these last three. So we have three more left, and then we're going to be done.
All right. Let's look at this question it's from Daniel Amen.
Right.
What is your biggest insecurity? Damn. Should we share?
That's a great one. Biggest insecurity. That's like straight giving up the keys to beat me up and defeat me in mental combat. I don't know if I want to just give that away for free on the internet. Honestly, it doesn't matter because I'd be willing to face it and fix it and improve, which is constantly what I'm doing in my life.
There you go. I think don't let your ego get in the way.
I think my biggest insecurity is, I think it's around the idea of not providing value of any sort. I think that's a big insecurity for me. As someone who, they be having different terms for people like us, type A or high achievers or high performers or people who are get after it, whatever words you want to use. But to me, I perceive it as people who are determined to move towards something for one reason or another. The reason determines what language goes with it. But for me, I believe that everything that I do should more or less turn out well. If in the beginning of something, it's going to suck, yes. But by the time I'm done doing whatever, it should be decent and it should add value to my life or someone else's life. It should do something. I think a big insecurity that I have, something that makes me feel fairly uncomfortable, is the idea that I would do something that means nothing to myself or to anyone else. It's different if it's like, doesn't mean anything to anyone else, but I enjoyed it. It was really meaningful for me. It's different if I didn't really care, but it seemed to light up the world for somebody else. Those are totally acceptable. Mm-hmm. The idea that I would spend too much of my time on something that means absolutely nothing to anyone, I think it's a big insecurity for me because it makes me question, what am I doing with my time? What am I doing in my life? And then I start to have a lot of negative thoughts and question things that I don't have much time to question. I need to just get back on the path. So I would say that's a big insecurity for me, is living a life where I'm not adding anything to the world.
Great answer. For me, my biggest insecurity would say, I believe it's not feeling enough.
Oh, explain.
I think growing up, I had this fixed mindset where everyone had programmed me to this thinking of like, just because I like this particular way of, thinking, or I like a specific subject, people would say, oh, you're never gonna, add up or whatever it is. So that kind of got stuck in my head as I grew up. However, when I start reading the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, that changed my whole perspective. And I believe that you are actually enough, whatever you are. Hey, just, sometimes you might go to a certain place where someone is superior, everyone might be competent, but that doesn't have to change your own self-esteem, your self-worth, because you are enough. You just have not, you are just in your chapter 1 and they're already in their chapter 20. So you don't have to really compare yourself. So you're always going to be enough. And if you want to get better, just put in the effort and, the time to get better.
Absolutely. I think that is a great one. Yeah, that's a very real insecurity, that what you shared. So thank you for sharing that. I feel like a lot of people are going to be able to relate to that one. And that's usually a concern. All right. Next, we have 2 others. These are level 1s.
Level 1, that's going to be easy.
Boom. This one's Chris Williamson. Shout out to Chris Williamson.
Oh.
What topic is no one talking about now that historians will study in the future? That is such an interesting question. That feels like a very Chris Williamson episode type thing.
Wisdom.
What topic is no one talking about now that historians will study in the future? Well, to frame this, historians usually study things that happened in the past. So what would they, and no one's talking about it now, but historians will definitely be talking about it in the future.
That's a hard question.
That's tough. I feel like part of what we talk about today is some of that will be talked about, but it's almost like a meta-analysis. Like, imagine if, you are a future version or some extracted version viewing our conversations as people today. And they might see something that we never saw because we're so in the thick of it. So it's hard to pinpoint, well, what would they see, right? That's such a great exercise or thought exercise just for that question. I don't know, but what I would hope that they're talking about is I would hope they're saying something like, and during this time in history, they were able to figure out all this crazy badness and hardships and whatever other foo-foo nonsense is going on in the world. And they're able to make a pivotal change that was able to restore the future of humanity, which is how we got here in the first place. So shout out to the people of this time and era because they were able to do something that led us to prosperity. I hope that's what happens. I hope they're not saying these fools made our life so hard. They did all the dumb things, blah, 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 blah. I hope that's not what they're saying about us. So we'll see. That's an interesting one.
Yeah, I don't think I would know how to answer this. I guess flat Earth.
They're gonna be like, they thought it was round. That's silly. They didn't understand the quantum physics that it's actually really flat.
Man, that's crazy. I don't know. What is the topic no one talking about now? I guess, we are already talking about the AI and how it's going to really change the trajectory on how we're going to live in the future.
Yeah, but everyone's talking about that now though. Yeah. So
I don't know how to answer that. It was too hard for me. It's level 1, but I don't know.
I don't know. That's a Chris Williamson level 1. He's on a different level. All right, cool. Well, shout out to Chris Williamson.
All right, we got the last card over here.
Last question.
Simon Sinek.
All right, leadership sensei.
What advice did you get from someone earlier in your career that you followed, but now, in hindsight, wish you hadn't, and why?
Dang. So who told you what to do? You did it, and now you're like, that was actually dumb. Interesting. You want to go first, or you want me to pull this one?
You can go first.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to read it again because, it helps me to see it in my eye gate. What advice did you get from someone early in your career that you followed, but now in hindsight, wish you hadn't, and why? There's plenty of advice like this. I don't know if I want to say the specifics because some of those specifics, like I said, I would have followed them today. And I kind of don't even want to say out loud what I was following. But in hindsight, I wish I had. Actually, I can pick a specific one. It was a bad one for me, actually. I'm going to pick this one. I was advised to trust the assistant manager at one of the places that I worked and just go with whatever they said from the manager directly. And I found out later, and this was not in my current career or path or any of that, but it was a totally different life. And I was really young, so I was listening. And I followed their instructions, and their instructions led to myself and another employee being arrested. Not only being called in and having the meeting in the office with the manager and loss prevention and sheriff's department officers, and then being told I could leave after signing a police report, and then coming to get me from my uncle's house at like 2 a.m. and then taking me in, entering the house illegally, changing the signed statement, etc. That I wish I would have never trusted that. I wish I would have stuck with my normal path of questioning things and having people explain things. Something I learned when I was really young is to ask why and to really understand the why for things. And if people can't really articulate or explain their why, I don't 100% need to go with it unless I have my own good reason to still go with it. As a teenager, that obviously got me in trouble because I'm sitting there giving adults a hard time challenging them and having them explain themselves. And even yourself, probably as an adult, if I ask you certain questions, you probably get annoyed with me. So imagine I'm a teenager asking you questions that you don't know how to answer. You're probably going to get annoyed with me. Well, at some point in my later teenage years, it was kind of taught like, okay, for certain things, you need to just go with the flow. You need to follow instructions, trust this person, run it. So this happened when I was about 19. And it was a big deal because it caused disruption in my life, even though not found guilty or any of the other stuff. Just that existing or that whole thing being a thing, it made my life hard for about 3 years, unnecessarily so, simply for following the advice or the instructions of one person who told me to listen to another person who wasn't per se the person to listen to.
Wow, that's some crazy experience that you had for 3 years. It lasted for 3 years.
Yeah,
it really messed you up.
Yeah, I really messed my life up for like 3 years. It was bad.
Yeah, I think that's very important to, if you don't understand, I think just ask question until, it's clear in your head. So that way you don't get in trouble like what happened to you.
Yeah. Don't just trust all the advice you're given.
Yeah, okay. So advice that you get from someone earlier in your career that you followed, but now in hindsight, wish you had it. And why? Oh, I can't even think of one person. I think it's just in general in people, they would give me advice that doesn't align with, how I wanted to live. I think I would say just in general, I think people would tell you not to follow this path or whatever it is.
Can I put myself on the fire? Put myself in the fire.
Right.
Have I given you any advice in your career that you once followed, but in hindsight, you're like, dang, I wish I wouldn't have listened to Flip. I shouldn't have listened to him on this one. I should have just trusted myself. Put myself in the hot seat right now.
Let's see, maybe the dancing,
Okay,
I actually, quit the dancing, the bachata and salsa back then because I couldn't handle the rejection, the embarrassment, the cringy moment. However, this guy over here is the person who told me to go because I had to face my fear. Now I'm so addicted to salsa and bachata. I'm dancing every single night and they're so late. I hate it. My schedule is all messed up.
All right, so definitely that was my bad.
Now I'm a great dancer. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he is a great dancer. He's a really good dancer.
I'm all right.
If you ever see him and you want to do a bachata or salsa, you got to run it up. You got to do one dance.
I'm okay.
He's competed and performed and won, so just saying he's pretty good. Cool.
Yeah, I can.
All right, that's our last question. All right, so Vaughn, where can they find or get these cards? Again, what's the name of the game too?
It's called the Diary of CEO Conversation Cards. You can get them on their website or in Amazon.
Okay, cool. And that's not sponsored. We're just showing love. Like, there's no promo. We're just whatever. If you're interested, if you enjoyed the conversation, you want to have these types of conversations or answer some of these questions with some of your friends or people that you know, or maybe you want to hang out with us and like, let's run it up.
Let's play it.
Yeah, hit us up. So thank you guys for listening. Please like, subscribe, follow, share, rate, review, all those great things. And we'll see you in the next episode. Take care.